Take me home tonight. I don't wanna let you go till you see the light.
Okay, welcome back to the second episode of the Unofficial Official Pod. I am Mike Luganbill. I'm your host on this journey that we're going on. I'm joined by two other members of the group, Segi Isho. Say hello, Segi.
Hello, Segi.
Okay. And to my left, Mr. Tyler Tripp. Hey, Tyler.
Hello, Segi.
How we doing?
I'm doing great. It's good. Hey, podcast number 2. We're going in the right direction. We went 1 first, and then we did 2. So
We didn't go 1A. We went straight to 2.
We went straight to 2.
Yeah.
So it's going the right way.
Also,
I think.
Mike, I didn't get any follow-up questions. It's just, here's Segi. You gave a direction to where Tyler was sitting, and then you gave follow-up. How you doing, Tyler? Like, how's things?
Just
like,
try
I'm
What's
still
your social
learning-
security number?
Hold on, I'm still learning this business,
4,
right?
9.
Right, I'm still learning this business, so
111?
I would feel like you guys could maybe cut me a little slack here.
True. Tyler,
at the
you and I have been
beginning.
podcasting for
Exactly.
years.
At least
now.
1 episode.
Yeah, so we've got a lot more experience than
We've been
Mike.
having a lot of just podcasts with ourselves, just conversations. They haven't been recorded, but they're awesome.
Yeah, we do a live podcast every time we hang out.
Right.
We just don't record it.
It's called Friendship.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
And
nice.
now
It's
we
all about
brought now
friends.
we brought Mike in.
That's nice.
Mike is also sitting
I'm
to my
so
left.
I'm so happy to be here. No, no, I really am, guys. We are here right now. We are in Bloomington, Indiana. We're rehearsing for our shows in Canada over these next few weeks. We're excited to see you guys. You can see all the dates and stuff. You can go to the website sncmusic.com. There will be a section of the podcast where we'll list all that stuff because we love to shamelessly plug. Right, Segi?
Indeed. Because if you don't plug
Nothing else?
if you don't plug your own stuff, then nobody will.
That's
right.
Yeah. 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 I
Mhm.
mean,
Yeah.
I think that
It's
makes
going
sense.
great.
Yeah. Okay, good. So, yeah. So we're here. So I know I said last time that the idea of the pod was for us when we're on tour, and we would use the opportunity to recap the shows and stuff. Well, for this pod, we don't have any shows to recap because we are in our rehearsal phase, which is going really well. Right?
It's going great. Yeah, I mean, we're doing the Yacht Rock tour again for this Canada run, and it's a bunch of great music from that genre of music, and we had a good time doing it last summer, and we're excited to gear it up.
I think
and
it's
do it
funny.
again.
Like, I thought I knew the show, so I come back into rehearsal. I'm like, I don't have to look at the music or anything, and then like we run through it. I'm like, oh
Right.
shit! Like this is.
Beep.
Oh, I do have to like think about this now.
It's okay. Yeah, right. I mean,
I'm getting old, but I don't think that's it.
A few weeks ago I was in my car and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put the CD on and I'm gonna sing along to the track. I'm gonna sing my part so I can be ready, polished when I get to rehearsal. And I put it on, I put Ride Like the Wind on. It starts and I was like,
And you rode
I
like
don't
the wind.
know what my part is. So I had to pull out the sheet music. Obviously, I didn't do it while I was driving. But yeah, I had the same kind of thing. I was like, it's funny how quickly you put a show out of your brain when you learn the new show. So we did the Yacht Rock tour last summer. And then as soon as you pivot to the fall, and you start learning all the new music for the fall, you immediately push all that other stuff out, all the choreography, the staging, intros even. Like you forgot what you said, all that stuff. But to go back to something you were talking about before, recapping a show, we did have a little bit of a show here in Bloomington. We sang at the Laurel Pin ceremony, and there was something of note that happened that I think we should talk about.
Ooh, what was it?
So we sang using our media setup, meaning it was an area mic situation. For you people that don't know what that means, it's just a couple of microphones put in like a straight line or an arc, and then a couple of guys stand around them and sing as if it was just a normal choir. And we get out there and we start singing, and immediately Steve, who was standing right next to me, I was in the middle of the first mic, and Steve points at their microphone, and there's a spider crawling around on the microphone. And I don't know if fans know this or not, but
It's inside baseball here.
I'm not down with insects. Like they are not my jam.
You hate insects.
I do.
Anything in the house, you burn
Burn
it
it
down.
down. Yeah,
burn it down
absolutely.
immediately.
If there's a fly that comes just near the bus, said
Yeah.
he's like puts a hazmat suit
I can
right
imagine
on.
this dilemma you had.
No
of
one can
like,
come
what do I
on.
do right now? There's a
And
spider
honestly,
on the
it's-
microphone, and I have to sing at it. I have to look at it.
Yeah. So when we sang Toto, and
But
I
it
did,
was little.
it was little, but to me, it would kill me. Probably by stroke, not by any venom or anything. I didn't see Peter Parker, but when we were singing Toto, and it was like my turn to step up closer to the mic to sing the Africa solo, I didn't step up. I was like, I'm not getting any close. I was like waiting for this spider to like jump on me.
Seriously?
Yeah,
You
I
didn't get
swear.
any closer because
I
the
did.
spider was
Yep,
on the mic.
100%.
Gosh,
Yeah.
Ziggy.
Yeah. I'm
Well,
not.
I don't
I'm
think
not.
the audience knew.
I'm man enough to admit it.
That's big.
I think you pulled it off.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't. At that point, I was not concerned about the audience. I was concerned for my own life.
well, we're happy you made through.
I did. I made it. I made
I mean,
it.
we were all worried
So
about it.
I didn't think that's where you were going to go with this.
Oh, where'd you think?
Where,
I was
I
where
thought-
did you think?
You were going to go to, like, we had the area mic set up, like, and all this stuff, and we even hired a guy to come in
Oh, jeez.
to like run the sound, and he was here, and he wasn't able to touch anything in the venue at all. So it was like
Because everything was covered in spiders.
Everything was covered in spiders. But that's where I thought that
It
you
was a
were going,
risk.
because that was also hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
He made his way, and then he just didn't do.
He drove
any-
from like Dayton.
He
I
just
believe.
didn't do anything.
Great guy.
Great
Yeah.
guy, but he
Jim.
didn't touch the.
Yeah, I think
He didn't
Jim.
touch the soundboard at all. Oh, I
Also,
thought.
did you guys know that Jim is short for Jimothy?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I
Did
You
thought
know
it
he's a
was
friend
for-
of Bob's.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
Yeah, they worked at Harpo's together, which is a club in Detroit.
interesting.
Yeah.
Harpo's.
Yep.
Oh,
Harpo's. Yeah.
okay.
It's just a
Okay,
like
so we
Anyway,
did have
the
a show to recap then.
And yeah,
Yeah,
it was.
but that was the
good.
recap.
It was a short
It
show,
was
but
Spider.
it counts. You know, it wasn't like you said we weren't on our standard 9 handheld microphones, but we did an area mic setup with bass and VP had their own mics, but it was great for about 30, 40 people maybe something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
But it's always a pleasure. Mike touched on it when we get to come back to Bloomington. It's just always fun to come back here, and we get the chance to rehearse and kind of go back to our old stomping grounds and all the fun places we used to hang out and sing for people here too. It's always a great way for us to have fun and also give back to the university. So we always love to come back to B-Town.
And Kilroy's. We get to go to Kilroy's.
Do you like
know-
Do you like Kilroy's?
Yeah. So
What is Kilroy's?
Fans-
Tell the people what Kilroy's is if they don't know what it is.
okay. So you know how when
How much time do we have?
Yeah, exactly. You know how when they say like, when you're stressed out or if you're feeling anxious or you're in a really dark place, like try to find like that happy place. Like
Yeah.
try to find the safe place where you feel happy.
Right.
That's Kilroy's.
Right. Mike's
It's,
is about
Which
75
is-
BPM.
Which is a what?
it's a place.
It's a what place?
It's a place.
What do
at
they?
IU.
What do you do there?
You spend time with friends and loved ones. Some of those loved ones.
Is it a restaurant? Or is it like,
It serves
is
food.
there-
It's a bar
okay,
and
the food-
grill. I think.
Oh, it's a bar.
Yeah, bar and grill.
Oh,
Yeah.
so when you're sad and
When I'm
not
sad.
when you're feeling down,
When you're sad.
just go to a bar.
And grill. I feel like you're specifically leaving out and grill.
I
out
don't
of the-
think whenever you propose it, like, hey, do you want to go to Kilroy's Bar and Grill?
Well, from now on, I'm going to say, do you guys want to go hit the grill?
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
even going to call it Kilroy's
and then
anymore.
we'll have to know what it is.
Yeah. You guys want to go check out the grill?
Man, this guy really likes food a lot. He just loves to go to this grill.
I
for
love
some reason.
grills.
Yeah.
You know?
Kilroy's is a bar a famous bar
they know.
on the Bloomington campus.
they know.
We sing
and
about it in
It
Escape.
So-
is awesome. It's been there since we were all in college. We have a lot of memories there, and we always try to make at least a couple appearances there every time we come to
Each
Bloomington.
day. Yeah,
Each
yeah.
day.
Like the lunch.
Every time we
crowd.
come to Bloomington, which is more frequent nowadays, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it seems
we're here a
like we're
few
here
times a
like
year.
once. Yeah, I mean, at least. But I feel like there was one other thing about the show that was a little different. As you know, now we have announced that we have a new member in our band, and he was in the show that we did
It's the spider.
last night. It's the
It's
spider.
the spider.
Really-
Oh no, Segi, are you quitting?
The
No, I
spider
will
is
never
Oh,
quit.
please don't.
The spider's really good at bass.
As you guys know, we added a member. We are really lucky to have him. He was amazing in the show. And he's here tonight with us in this
Our
room.
very first guest.
You guys, our very first
Very
guest
first
that we've
guest.
ever
First
had on the
guest.
pod. Please welcome Luke Bob Robinson.
Hey.
Luke.
So give it some space so people can really feel his and understand his voice. Like just his normal speaking voice is like that's when you know. So
Okay.
I'm going to pass you the mic. Are you ready? If you drop it, you're out of the band. Okay.
Hello, everybody.
There
This
it
is
is.
Luke Bob Robinson. Thank you so much for having me, guys. I didn't know I was the inaugural guest. This is awesome.
You're the first one.
It's,
Well, so we thought it was appropriate because I think for all of us, it's kind of a new beginning here in a way, and I think it is also for you, which I think we'll get into later, because we're gonna get into your story and all that. But it's nice to have you here, man, and we are really excited, and we can't wait to talk to you. So I guess we'll start kind of first off. You were born, yes,
that's usually how most people start.
yes.
Yeah.
Great. That's all we wanted to have you on.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So much for having me.
So you were born.
Yeah, and I was
in
actually born
Seattle, yes.
Seattle, West Seattle, and 1 month I learned recently after SNC formed in 1996.
Wow. Okay.
Finally, somebody.
And that's it. And then, so you were born then, and then nothing else happened. No.
from the
so,
beginning.
Like, why don't you tell us kind of how you got started in music? Is it something that you always wanted to do? Did you come from a musical family, or?
Yeah, I mean, my mom's family's Irish Catholic, and or former, most of them, but big, boisterous, and loud family, and it was the kind of thing where they were singing musicals all the time. And I mean, in the Northwest, obviously has its influences, but yeah.
Wow. I mean, is it? You may not know this, but your voice is very low. So my question is, was it just like when you were growing up, all of a sudden one day you're like, "Hey guys, how you doing? Hey guys, how you doing?" Like, did it just like one day drop to the octave that it is now, or was it like a gradual thing?
Well, it's so weird. It was probably 12 or 13 years old, and my voice was cracking all the time. It was like, "Hi guys, do you want to go play some baseball?" And it was a good 2 years or so
Wow,
of that.
okay.
And it was only when I was 14, I think, I saw a buddy play a cover of guess what, Hallelujah on guitar in front of the school. I was like, oh my God. Oh, you know the one.
The song?
Hallelujah.
yeah, okay.
That one.
Yeah, he sang the Hallelujah chorus with acoustic
Handel's
guitar
Messiah.
solo. It was around Christmas time, so it fit. But he sang that song. I was like, oh my God, look at the effect he just had on people. That's so cool. What a cool guy. So I go to my guitar teacher. I'm like, man, can you teach me how to sing? And he got me started. Jason Houtsma. He's
So this is
awesome.
Shout
when you
out
were what
Jason
age?
Houtsma.
I
nailed
was
it.
like
What age were you then?
14 years old.
Okay.
He's
Yeah.
listening.
So
for
were you
sure.
in like choirs and stuff, like all through middle school and like high school and stuff and all that?
It was actually only 8th grade that, I had this friend, Adam Perkowski, and he's awesome. But we were signing up for our high school classes in a computer lab, and we both saw choir. And I recently had started watching Glee,
Sure.
and
yeah.
I was like, God, there's so many cheerleaders in that choir.
Now we're
you,
talking.
Can you believe it? And I was like, Adam, I think we should join the concert choir. What do you think?
I think we know that story, right, Tyler?
Dude, it's a
Don't we know
very
that
familiar
pretty
one.
well?
Yeah, absolutely. It's where all the girls are. The cute
Exactly.
girls.
Exactly. So naturally, we joined that choir, and it was only after joining the choir teacher, Linda Short, amazing choir teacher, tested my range, and I was like, oh, I have a really low voice, because it was kind of it sat really low, but it still sounded really young.
Sure. Okay.
And so you wouldn't, by listening to me at that point, necessarily have guessed. But yeah, I was singing low C's, and I had a anybody can find the Easter egg video on YouTube of me singing a low G at 15 years old, and that's kind of when it
pretty low.
started. And there's a whole community of like Russian octavists on YouTube and Facebook, and
boy.
I was kind of getting
Stop
into
what you're
that.
doing now.
Are you sorry? Just to clarify, like protesters? Like, why are you saying that word weird?
Octavist?
Oh, are you an octavist?
activist.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. No, this word uses a K, but no, Russian octavist. And I commented on this video on YouTube. I was like, man, this isn't anything. I'm 15 years old. I can sing a low G1.
Right, and now you're what, like a sophomore in high school?
Yeah,
Right?
this
Or
was
you
like freshman in
Okay,
high school.
freshman in high
And so
school.
Exploramaster09 on YouTube said I couldn't sing a low
wait, excuse me,
G1.
what? Who?
Exploramaster09.
And that's stuck with you, obviously, for a long time. Yes.
Oh, it is burned into my brain. I will
Really?
never forget the first person who doubted I could sing a low G1 Exploramaster09.
Wow.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I doubt you can Venmo me $10,000 right now. There's no chance you could Venmo me 10,000. Zero chance. Just let it be known. You cannot Venmo me
I don't get it.
$10,000. You don't get it?
No.
Someone doubted that he couldn't sing a G1, so he did it. So I'm trying to get him to follow along, Tyler.
Unfortunately, it is easier for me to sing a G1 than it is to come up with $10,000 usually, most days.
Yeah. So you're in choirs all through high school, and then you are leaving, and you're like, "What am I going to do?" And you end up here at Indiana University, right, in the music school. Were you thinking about something else at all, or was it always like, "I want to go do this," and you thought, "I'm going to come to Indiana because it's the best school"?
Or were there some other options that you were thinking about as well?
Yeah, ever since I started kind of singing and performing, and through high school doing musicals, and I did some opera as well, there was never any other option. I never had a backup plan. My backup plan was voiceover or like radio or something. And my parents were super, super supportive of that. But my voice teacher in Bellingham, Washington, also went to IU in the 70s.
Oh, there you go. There's the
and
connection.
he went to
Okay.
Jacobs.
Sure.
And then my voice teacher here, Heidi Grant Murphy, she's amazing. She also grew up about 5 minutes from my hometown home in Bellingham.
So for anyone that goes into music in college, there's a dream, right? When I came here, I was a trumpet performance. I sang with S&C. My dream was to sit in the back of an orchestra or be on stage in some capacity. What was the goal? What was like, I'm going to go study, sharpen my tools in this craft, and then use it to do, what was the end game?
Always opera was, where it kind of started. My early voice teachers would tell me, with a low voice, there's only two ways you can make money. It's not musical theater. It is opera or country music. And so I, thought opera sounded cooler than country music.
Wow, probably the first person to ever say that. I agree with you. I'm not a country guy, but that's
Opera, country music, and the guy that sings a Baby Back Ribs jingle.
I
Yeah.
want my baby back,
That's it.
baby
See?
back, baby back. I want my
That's
baby
another job.
back,
Boom.
baby
I'm just
back,
creating
baby
jobs all over
back.
the place.
seriously. Are you like monster.com?
I am.
Crushing it.
Is that still a thing?
Indeed. I
It
don't
is
know.
not. I don't.
Okay. So you came to IU because your teacher from Bellingham went to IU as well. So that's what brought you to IU, because I mean that's a long way to go from home, Seattle to Bloomington. And so you obviously visited here first, loved it, fell in love with it, tried out for the music school,
Yep.
and
Yep.
made it.
I did. And actually, my first time here was in February. So it was really, I was picking up on the culture of everything. I didn't just get sucked in by, April weather in
Right.
Southwest
Absolutely.
Indiana. Yeah.
That's cool. That's great. Well, so you decided to come to IU. That's awesome. And you were in voice for the whole time, or your major was voice? Yes.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
But in the audition, you told us you left Indiana and then came back, right?
I left another round for 2 years and came
Oh, that's
back.
what it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why'd you leave? Was it just it was conflicting with rehearsals for opera?
It was, there was a desire to kind of spend a lot of time in the practice room, and just knowing that another round practices a lot, and they're great about that. But I really wanted to focus on my kind of solo voice for a bit and just be because I was in another round freshman year, I didn't know what it would be like to not, and I wanted to know what that would be like.
For a group or a whatever you want to call it in college, club, like it's a very, I don't use this word demanding, not demanding, but it's very, there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, they have rehearsals multiple times a week. They have shows on the weekend. I mean, when I was in college, I mean, you could say that that was our major. Like, we performed all the time, we rehearsed all the time, and we had guys like you too, who are in the music school that, you know, it's just, the college groups is a huge commitment. And it's just, if you got other stuff going on, it's, you know, it's tough.
On a scale of 1 to immediate retirement, how disappointed would your vocal opera teacher be knowing that you're not singing opera and you're singing a cappella for a living?
Well, I actually, it was so funny. It was, can I say the day? February
Sure.
25th that you guys told me I was in, and I saw her later that day, and I was like, Heidi, I got in. Like, what do you think?
She immediately start crying and
Oh.
run out of the room, grab a box, pack up all her things.
No, she was so wildly excited. She was like, do it, do it, do it, do it. And you know, I kind of did the, you sure? You sure? And she was like, absolutely. You know, it's so hard, especially these days, to be a working musician.
Oh, yeah.
And so to have the opportunity to be a working musician is, I mean, that when you boil everything down was always the dream.
She was your teacher here,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So you said that you left the group, but then in your last year here, you decided to come back to it. What was that like? How did the guys feel about that? And what was that like situation like, you know, the dynamic like?
I bet I
there?
know what they were like. Singing bass in a college group is like having wealth in society. Like, if you have a voice like that, I mean, you're gonna be like, yeah, dude, whenever you want to come back. But I was, you know, being funny. But go ahead. I mean, it was
No, 100%. It was a thing. I think they'd lost a bass that year previous, and so they needed another. But also, I'd just been hanging out with them so much
Yeah.
in
You're still friends with
in
them.
my free time. Yeah, that it was like, come on, I'm gonna be a senior. There's not really an opera that has a great role for me coming up. So
I'm gonna be
why
a
would
senior.
I not?
I have one class on Wednesday at 4 p.m. and I'm at Kilroy's Bar and Grill a lot. So
So after 2019 and you wrap up here and it's like, okay, so like, what are you doing now? So like, where do you go? Like, what do you do?
Straight into quarantine. The pandemic started.
we all did.
Pretty much. I mean, I took a road trip with all my stuff and went through.
Oh, that was
I
brutal.
mean, we can laugh about it now, but at the time,
Yeah, I mean we lost our income for almost 2 years. That was pretty insane. Like that
And I'm
was
sure
not,
for college kids
not
too,
fun.
like Luke Bob.
I'll say this in defense of us who are, you know, married with kids. Quarantine was a much different experience for us than I had friends that were, even my married friends that don't have kids would text me like, man, I'm all out of things to watch. I've watched everything on Netflix. I'm like, how about you come watch my kids and I will watch one thing on Netflix? Like, it was brutal. Like, for these young guys with no responsibilities, like quarantine was probably pretty great because there was no pressure to do anything. They could pack up their car, go for a road trip. You know what I mean? Like, what were you doing? Is that exactly what you're doing?
Well, I mean, I came home in August of 2019, worked at a bar up until March, and then I was at my parents' place, and so it was kind of like a return to childhood almost with me, my sister, and both my parents in the house. And that's kind of when we found out really how
love
many
that.
square feet are in that.
No, I
that
love
place.
that. So you were living up there, and I don't think a lot of people know this, but we did have some auditions a couple years ago when we got Freedom, and Luke Bob was one of the guys who was there. At the time, we didn't need a bass, but he made a big impression on us. And you were still living in Seattle at the time, but it didn't work out at that time. But I know that like we never forgot about you. I mean, obviously, but like what? Or so after that audition, you know, up until the latest audition, and now you're in the band. Sort of lead us through that.
Yeah, I mean, SNC, Another Round, has always been kind of at these bookmark, you know, chapter points in life, which is really cool. And at the audition, I was talking to people, and at that time, I was really into Lizzie McAlpine. And one of the people there was like, "Oh, I'll text her and let her know that she has a fan here." And I was like, "What?" Yeah, one of the auditionees.
Oh wow, okay.
And I was like, that is wild. And the more I was talking to these guys, who all of them, and you know, of course, Freedom as well, super high caliber musicians, and they were all professionals and had been working. And so being around them, I was like, what am I missing? Because I'm here with you guys, and obviously 9 guys in SNC put us on a very similar level. What am I missing in terms of going out and doing the thing? And they're like, dude, you just got to be
Vocal percussion. That's all.
I was
you were,
missing the VP. That's
that's
really
all-
what it was.
Honestly, that's all you were missing. That's what it came down to. We needed a vocal percussionist. You know, Charlie had left. We still had Randy. So while it was nice having the 2 basses, it wasn't a necessity. Needing the vocal percussion was much more of a necessity, and this kind of roadmap has been pretty incredible, because now the band is in such an amazing place because of how much Freedom elevates the sound of our band, and how much you now will elevate the sound of our band. So everything happens the way it's supposed to, right? I truly believe that. And you not getting in that first time was better for you in the long run, and you couldn't see it at the time, and neither could we. You know what I mean? Because it was just meant to be. Like, what was your mindset when you were told, like, hey, you didn't make it? Like, what were you thinking?
I think I could kind of feel that it wasn't going to happen, because I could sense that need for VP, and I don't think you guys even had me do VP in the audition.
I think we asked everybody, obviously, but I think
There's no
I
better time
remember
than now.
No,
I think
God.
I remember you came. I think I remember him coming in, and obviously he has a low voice, so he's like, okay, this guy could definitely sing bass. And then in your interview, we were like, so do you do any vocal percussion? You were like, no. We're like, hey, you know what? At least he's honest. But yeah, go through after that.
I mean, yeah, after that, it was like, oh, wow, I don't know, that was the first time since 2019 that I'd been around a lot of other musicians. And so it was kind of a reminder, like, oh, here's what I want to be doing. Okay. And it was a few months after that I decided I was going to move to New York City.
Yeah.
And it was a week before I moved that I found the place I was going to be living in. And it all happened like in that 5-6 months after the audition, moving to New York and releasing a song and just putting myself out there more in general. And it was a pretty big Kickstarter for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so after the audition that you didn't make it, how long were you at home until you decided to move to New York? And then once you got there, what were you doing? Like, because I know you're like, you went to school for opera, so like I'm sure you're doing stuff, but
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty much right after the audition that I came back, and
you're like,
I was
I'm
living with
out. I'm just going to New
yeah,
York.
I was living
Gonna
with
go
2 of
do
my
it.
cousins at the time, and I looked at one of them. I was like, dude, I forgot.
Sometimes you
that
just
I
have to
wanted
be like,
move.
I'm
Yeah.
just out,
Just
man.
gonna
Like,
do it. Yeah.
because if you don't, then you might get stuck, and it's like, no, man. Like, I just gotta go.
It really, I mean, yeah, it knocked the cobwebs out and
Absolutely.
reminded me of what I wanted to be doing.
Yeah.
And so at the end of me and my cousin's lease, they were like, are you re-signing? Are we gonna do this again? And I was like, no, I'm gone. And
So
one
you
of my
moved to New York, like, okay, I'm gonna be a singer.
yeah, I had 2 bags and my guitar and a backpack, and
Really?
that
That's
was
a song right there.
Really?
That's a movie.
That's
yeah.
That's
so you
really
get to New
cool.
York, and like, what do you do?
I started playing open mics. Pete's Candy Store is a great place in Williamsburg. And I started catering and bartending. And that's what I was doing pretty much up until I got the call again from Tyler.
Dude, that's
Oh.
amazing, man. It's
That's-
amazing that
that's-
you had the
yeah.
balls to be like, I'm just going to go to New York because I know this is going to be right. Like, I'm going to make something of this. Because, like they say, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere.
Where have I heard that before? So, all right, so let's get real here. Sure. When you got the email being like, hey, guy we didn't take already, come audition again. What were your real feelings? Like, I'll give a little insight into why I'm asking this. When the original group got signed, when the first video went viral and, you know, it started circulating among SNC alumni that the group was about to get signed by Atlantic, of course I was happy for all these guys. You know, like there a lot of them were my friends. A lot of them I didn't, or a few of them I didn't really know, just because they're significantly older. But a few of them were my friends, and I was obviously very pumped for them. But at the same time, I was super jealous, and I was like, "That's great for them, but that sucks. That could have been any version of the group's video. Like, there was no reason why it was. It was all luck, right? It was all. So I was, admittedly, very jealous. I was like, "Dang, man, that could have been Tyler and my year video on YouTube that went viral." So I want to know what your true feelings were. Were you like, man, screw these guys. I'm not going through this all over again, going all the way to the audition to sing again, to maybe not get in again. Like, what were you feeling? And don't sugarcoat. Like, you're in now, so we can all be honest. We're in the trust tree with the birds chirping. So
I was gonna say, I would piggyback on that to come back to an audition again, because I had done that for another group that I sang with, the Highness Sound, where I auditioned the first time, did not make it, and then I just decided to go out again because I wanted to do it. But was there, you know, I know in the email I said we were looking to add a bass singer. Was that obviously in your brain like, okay, this is something I can do pretty well?
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely excited I would not have to beatbox in the audition. That was a huge. I was like, oh God, I'm really gonna have to beatbox in front of these guys. But yeah,
So you got asked to audition a second time. I said in the email that we were looking for another bass singer. At that point, when you got the email, what were you thinking?
well, first, I thought you were gonna add a bass singer. I had no idea that.
Which is what I said, which is fair.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we did that strategically.
Yeah, no, that was very good. I mean, as much as I may have made an impression on y'all made an impression on me. That was the first time we had met, kind of me not in another round or in college.
Right.
And yeah, I wasn't put off at any point by not getting in the first time. I think that there's always been a kind of strain of confidence I've had that things are going to work out. And actually that first audition was the first time that I had auditioned for something and not gotten it.
Wow. Oh my
Beep.
gosh.
Well, you needed that
I
humility.
thought
Oh my God.
bet-
Yeah.
I'm very thankful we were able to provide you with that.
It was,
But I bet New York stockpiled on that a little bit, didn't it?
oh yeah.
They
Oh
thought
yeah.
you're no
New
lie.
York or Columbia for sure. No, it was so cool to get no as an answer. It was,
Well, now that you got a yes.
yeah.
I mean, it was two no's.
Well, we
I
have
think
some
you'd
news
be-
for
you'd be
you.
singing a different tune. You'd be like, man, these guys are dead to me. The worst impression I ever had was from these dudes.
Yeah, no, it was relieving to get that no, to finally be like, all right, life's real now. It's no longer just easy going. Everything is coming up roses. This is real life now. And yeah, coming back, I was like, this would be pretty freaking cool if I got it, you know.
When you what was your approach? How was your approach differently the second time as far as the first time, knowing what you knew from the first audition?
I mean, the first time, again, it had been a long time since I'd engaged with music in a serious and professional way. And so it felt like the clouds parting and the hand of God reaching down saying, here's an opportunity for you. And I was like, oh my
email
gosh.
must have
And
been
then we
pretty
said,
good.
and then we said no, and the clouds came back, and he quickly snatched this opportunity back into the heavens.
Yeah, it was like the sixth plague or whatever. Yeah. Sorry.
Knowing that it was adding a bass singer, knowing that there were probably also be more bass singers, how was your approach differently this time as far as how you prepare? Did you listen to our stuff? What did you do?
I mean, I looked up SNC on Wikipedia. I tried to read every like press article that I could find basically I approached it in a more professional way because I had been around
Right.
professional things in New York. And I think I was able to separate out the 14, 15-year-old version of me that was and is a fan of Straight No Chaser. And just bring the singer that went to IU that wants to be a professional. And that's who I really tried to bring to the audition.
What's the grossest thing you've seen in New York since you moved there?
This one time there was a spider on a microphone.
No, in New York. I said gross, not scary.
Oh, well, it can be gross and scary.
Sure.
I mean, recently I was on the, I think it was the J Train platform.
It doesn't
and
matter.
I'm not normally on the J Train, but
None of this matters.
there was a lot of poop on the platform. And usually it's relegated to the street, you know?
Like humans?
Yes,
is
yes,
human?
it was human.
Oh my God.
human
At
feces.
that point, do we call it a platform or do we call it a deck? A poop deck.
Bravo. Nice. Nice.
I'll see myself out.
Yeah, please.
So, and also, to go back to the audition, it was, you're obviously very talented, but there were also 5 other very talented bass singers with also very low voices as well. Just being in the same room with those guys, hearing them talk, hearing them sing, what was your kind of mentality thinking throughout that whole audition process?
I've never been in a room with more low voices.
I don't think we have either.
Yeah. Like
That was
that's
wild
such a
having them all come
unique-
in like that. That was
it's
crazy.
such a unique group that you guys pulled together, and all of them are wildly talented and all professionals as well.
Yeah, it was like wild right at the beginning. So we had everybody come in there and we rehearsed the songs, and there were 7 basses or 8, and it was just this massive bass sound, and
Stereo
all of us were
bass
just like,
sound,
"This is
oh my
crazy."
gosh.
But like everybody knew the parts really well. Like it was, yeah. But anyway, keep going.
Oh yeah, I mean at least in high school and college a little bit too, there's so few basses that when you meet one, it's kind of like, you're seeing another wild animal version of you, that you normally don't see. And so there can be posturing or like, okay, I'm going to start talking even lower now because this guy's in the room with me. But I tried to, as much as I could, just be like, these are just cool people who I'm going to really hope to have some kind of professional connection with in some way.
Yeah.
So let me try and make some friends.
Yeah,
and,
like I said before, finding bases like this in college, like I said before, but in any a cappella group they're few and far between. Trying to find guys to audition we searched everywhere, called in favors. It was these guys were all obviously very talented, with Luke Bob obviously being the best.
So it's funny. It's funny you mentioned the posturing thing because that exists everywhere. It's not just with basses. It's not. I took a couple of professional auditions, symphony auditions, and when you go down into the practice rooms and like start warming up and getting ready for it, every dude is like just trying to play loud and high and like intimidate everyone else because everyone can hear everyone.
Like you're in the room with these other guys. And
Yeah,
I'm
and
gonna-
everyone's like, "All right, I'm gonna start going off on this trumpet and make sure everyone hears it. So when they go into the audition, they're thinking about me and what they just heard." So that stuff exists, and I'm sure it exists in sports and anything that has any sort of competitive edge to it. So it's funny that you mentioned that, but at a certain point, each of you guys talking to each other, getting lower and lower. It, I can just imagine where like you can't even hear it anymore. It's just like,
Yeah, we had to tell each other to talk higher because we couldn't understand him after a
yeah.
while.
We're like, can you just write it down? Actually,
You text us. Oh my gosh! So obviously went through the audition process, and you came out on top. When we got to the next morning, which is when we ended up telling you in
Right.
our Airbnb over across town, you got over there. We didn't tell you yet. You know, kind of what were you thinking that morning? How did you?
Yeah, because I feel like you knew in a way. No.
A little bit.
Yeah, I
Well, because I texted you the night before trying to call you, and we had been talking after everybody left the party.
Right, and there's no way for any. Well, there's no way for you to know because you didn't see the email, right? Okay, so we send an email, to everybody else that's like, hey, unfortunately, blah
different
blah blah
direction.
blah, fine,
Yeah.
fine, fine. But you're in the dark, right? So you're coming over, and you may be the first to come over. You may be the last. So you don't know, right?
right. I mean, I was actually
It's like The Bachelor.
I had a really cool Uber driver that took me
At
over
the
that
end.
morning, and
The finale. And when they do like the
yeah,
final.
the rose. Yep.
You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
you get the final rose, Mike.
That's right.
Have you ever auditioned for The Bachelor?
No, never. I would never do that.
That's on your bingo card. I don't know.
I don't
feel
know,
like
man.
I feel like
The Bachelor, Thursday
Well,
nights, ABC.
I
No,
think
but
he
like
assumes
hype-
when I was single. When
Don't-
I
don't flatter yourself because when you were single, that show didn't exist.
Look it
don't
up.
think I would ever do that
How's that possible?
because it's too like it's not worth it. The competitive, over like a girl, like it's not worth it. So that would never be my style. But so I don't know.
But yeah, coming over to the house that morning, I had a great Uber driver, and because Tyler had texted me the night before, I was like, I think I probably got it. And so I was talking to him, and I was like, man, I think I just got this job.
Oh
Nice.
man,
Like,
I
what do
wish we
you-
would have known that because
we would have messed with you even
Luke Bob drove 20 minutes with this dude, just talking the whole time, and then when he stops talking, the guy just turns around and goes, "Gracias." Spoke no English.
Doesn't understand a word
No
he's saying.
clue what this guy said. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he's been Acapulco or something. I don't know. He's talking about Acapulco back there.
That it was funny because the night after everybody came over to the house and we hung out with everybody, we were obviously talking about y'all when you left, and we wanted to tell you that night because we were all hype and we had decided, and that's why I called and texted you, and then I looked at my phone like, oh, it's 1 a.m. He's probably asleep. We had been talking for like 2 hours.
Yeah, because at that time, you didn't know if you were going to have to sing in the morning.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be a callback, like there was.
Yeah,
the,
like a callback or something.
the other audition. Yeah.
Well, we were so glad that you accepted, because I mean, it is a big switch in your life. It's a big change in your life. Like now you're going to be expected to, just all the things. Be there for shows and learn all this music. Like I know, like on like the upcoming shows here that we're doing in Canada, we're doing the Yacht Rock show from last year, and we likely won't sing any of those songs again for a long time. So you had to learn that whole show for just a couple weeks, and I know that's a lot of work. But obviously you're ready
And he
for
crushed
it.
it, by the way. I mean, he came. How many songs was it?
I think 17.
17 songs.
Yeah.
This guy had the music, came ready, prepared, and it's very nice to have that happen, coming prepared like that. And we're so excited that you're part of the group. I wanted to, after now that you're in, you're getting ready to do shows. What are you looking forward to the most, or what are you looking forward to by being in this group?
I think being around people that are better at things than me, because
You should be pretty used to that by now.
We're you in New York.
Other than singing bass. Singing bass.
No, I think there's just I love being the dumbest person in the room for like most things, and I feel that I don't feel dumb, but
I get what you're saying.
yeah.
Like more like group wise, like what are you looking forward to? Like
I
stuff
see.
we've done or we've recorded, or what will get you hyped?
I'm so excited to start recording this EP
Yeah.
for the 90s tour.
Yeah.
I have never had the opportunity to like get somebody, I mean, multiple people that are going to mix and master and do all this crazy stuff. I've never had somebody do that to my voice, and I am so excited to blast that in a car and
Yeah.
like feel myself singing the bass. I'm so
Turn
stoked
up that
for
bass and that treble down, baby.
Well, there you go, chasers listening. The cat's out of the bag. We are going to be recording an EP for this summer
Oh,
run.
did we just announce that?
Oh,
We
right
just
here
did.
on
We
the
broke
unofficial official
news. Now we have to do it.
pod. Now
He
we have
said
to
it.
do
Now
it.
we got to come up. So, yeah, man, it's going to be great. We appreciate you coming on the pod. Remember the Venmo thing, and yeah, man, you came prepared to rehearsals and everything. You know, you had some solo sessions with Jill, learning all the choreo, so you came in pretty ready to go. So, Luke Bob Robinson, welcome
We
to
are
the Chaser family.
very
Thank
excited.
you so much.
Very excited.
Hey,
Thanks,
thank you
Luke.
for having
pod.
me. I
Yeah, dude,
appreciate it.
Anytime. It's been a real pleasure. So all the tickets and information for that, sncmusic.com. And we're going on tour this summer. We're going to be all over the U.S. with our 90s tour. We're going to have incredible special guests. We're going to have O-Town. We're going to have Chris Kirkpatrick from NSYNC. Like,
right.
it's going to be
Yeah.
hard not to like.
And we're gonna have Lisa Loeb.
And Lisa Loeb.
Stay just a little, right? The,
No,
I miss
you
you.
say-
You say.
There it is.
We'll
We'll get it. We'll get it. Edit that out.
It's gonna be weird not to like fangirl out to
Maybe
my
we can have
man
her on the pod.
my man from NSYNC. Like, hey man, like
I'm ready.
you were in,
NSYNC.
Sync.
NSYNC.
You were.
but like NSYNC and BSB, you know, like those are the two biggest like at the time.
That's gonna be super fun. And we're looking forward to that. Yeah. So make sure that you look for us on all the socials at unofficial official pod. So for Segi and Tyler and Luke Bob Robinson, I'm Mike Luganville, and we will see you next time. All right, guys. See ya.
She was looking kinda dumb with her finger and her thumb in the shape of an L on her forehead. Well, the years start coming and they don't stop coming. Fed to the rules and I hit the ground running. Didn't make sense not to live for fun. Fed to the rules and I hit the ground running. Didn't make sense not to live for fun.